Something I always talk about is the Hegelian dialectic. The Hegelian dialectic is something that is pretty much is in place from the power structure where they act out these agendas in order for them to fulfill some sort of objective. So for example, the Twin Towers, when it comes to the crash of the Twin Towers, that was based in the Hegelian dialectic. You have to have some sort of, premise, and from that premise you have to have two sides that pretty much oppose one another in order for it to come to some sort of agreement. So you have a situation that occurs where the Twin Towers get blown up, and from that you have change, just based off of the devastation and the destruction that occurred. You have change, and from that change, policy is enacted, laws are changed. You have to have something that pretty much act as a pretense for a solution to be made, but it has to be something catastrophic, or it has to be something that's justified. Another example is Kyrie Irving last year when he made that post. He didn't make that post of his own volition. He did not make that post of his own volition. These people are assets. They do these things because they push agendas. You have to understand, when it comes to the Luciferian agenda that's at hand, when it comes to these assets that are a part of the overall conglomerate of agenda-driven Luciferianism, so on and so forth, they all take part in it. So Kyrie Irving is just controlled opposition. He was used to tweet what he tweeted and be labeled an anti-Semite, even though all he was doing was showing you that so-called black people are of Israel. Israel comes from Shem. So how can you be an anti-Shemite if you're claiming to be of Shem? That's how you know that this world is just based in confusion on top of confusion. It does not make any sense. The people that's in power, they say that the people who claim to be of Shem are anti-Semitic. Like if you say a Jew makes a whole lot of money, like Jews, they run the world, they make a whole lot of money, they make you seem like they claim anti-Semitism, like they'll put that on you, even though you're saying something that's factual. How am I anti-Shem when I'm just telling you that that's what it is? That's how you know that they just use that term to maintain their power base, as well as it's just confusion. It doesn't make sense. But this world, they don't address the confusion aspect. They don't address the things that don't make sense. Like if you was to lay out something like, where you're going against that narrative of it's okay to be a tranny, or where they try to justify transgenderism, where you tell them some shit that makes so much sense, that's logical, and they still gloss over it. This is how you know that they perpetuate that confusion. They further push it. It's purposeful. You know what I mean? Like where you could combat the nonsensical element of these people who stand up for transgenderism, and it's easy to combat. I'm sure you guys already know. Like you could just pull out a scenario where you say that, well, why do you think that it's okay for you to transition into something other than what you were born as, even though you're telling yourself to be yourself? That doesn't make any sense. How can you say be yourself, but you're trying to transition into something else? That's not you being yourself. Something simple as that. Or saying, you wanting to be like that is equivalent to you saying that you want to be a chandelier, or you saying that you want to be a bed. I'm a bed today because I just say that. That's how you combat the nonsensical element of that narrative, of that agenda, because it's nonsensical. It's childlike. We live in a childlike world. We live in a childlike world. That's what we live in. Where all this stuff is just based in things that don't necessarily make sense, even when it comes to the policies that they try to put on you, even when it comes to things that come thereafter in regards to the agenda that was at hand. It's all childlike. It doesn't make sense. And this is how you know that we live in this confusion. We live in this confused society. Babylon, this is confusion. That's why the Most High deemed Babel, the Tower of Babel, from Cush and Nimrod, when they was trying to build that tower, as far as them being deemed Luciferians, because they built that tower into the heavens above. They wanted to be like the Most High. It was deemed Babel, it was deemed confusion, because that's this world. And it replicates the Tower of Babel. The Tower of Babel was deemed confusion because they were no longer able to prosper because of the languages being confounded. Therefore, there was confusion. And in this world, the proverbial languages are confounded. That's why it's so much confusion. Proverbial languages just being agendas or, certain groups, ethnic groups, races, so on and so forth. The languages of this society in this modern time is all confounded, and it's the reason why we live in this perpetual confusion. So just going back to my point about a Kyrie Irving, where he posted something about anti-Semitism, quote unquote anti-Semitism. That was their way to pretty much block out all sources of truthful information, so they could use Kyrie Irving as a pawn to demonize the book when it comes to the Bible, as well as the source in regards to Hebrew to Negro. They demonized truthful information, and from there they can be able to go on Amazon and take down certain books. They could go on these websites and block them. Just like Real History WW, you can't even go on this site anymore. Look, you can't go on this site no more. And this was my go-to. I did a lot of videos just based off of, this site alone. This is how you know that it was real. It was real truth on this website, because they block it. They block it because they know it's a threat. They're not gonna block it if it's bullshit on the site. So they block it because they understand that just from a situation that occurred with Kyrie Irving, that's used as like a pretense for them to continue on and block all these different websites that have information. But they could deem it as, they could make it seem as if it's harmful, or it's anti-Semitism, or it's racist, or it's black supremacist. It's a bunch of nonsense. They put these labels on it in order for them to justify taking it down. They put labels on it to justify why they take the shit down. Even though it's not black supremacy. How could it be black supremacy? We not in no fucking power. We not in no power. But this is powerful when it comes to the information that we're in. We living in an age of information. So in these last days, they're gonna go to great lengths to take down any sort of information that's based in truth, especially from agendas that they put forth, like Kyrie Irving posting that. It's a reason why they use Kyrie Irving to post that, so they can use that as a buffer or as a backdrop to continue to take down all these different websites that have truthful information, especially pertaining to so-called black people. That's why when it comes to that, which is like the ultimate understanding in regards to you knowing that you are an Israelite, you are God's chosen, that's why they use that narrative. Or not necessarily that narrative, but that angle, the angle of, black people knowing who they are and coming to the understanding of who they are. But they want to demonize it and make it seem as if you're wrong for going into that. And they put a label like anti-Semitism. I cannot be anti-Shem if I'm of Shem. That doesn't make any fucking sense. And it's not anti-Semitism, it's anti-Shemitism. And you cannot be anti-Shem if you're claiming to be of Shem. This is how you know that it's all about, just trying to maintain a power base. And what we understand further is that we at war. We at war. We know who we are according to the scriptures. We know who they are according to the scriptures. But when it comes to the people that's lame, the masses, the ones that don't get anything, the sheep, it's important for the people in power to keep them docile and keep them out of the understanding. When I say we, I'm only talking about the select few who understand what time it is in regards to the truth and so on and so forth. But we know the majority of the masses, they deaf, dumb, and blind. So the people that's in power, they want to keep them deaf, dumb, and blind by pushing these agendas, pushing these narratives. You know what I mean? Anti-Semitism. Nobody questions that because they don't have an understanding of who the fuck they are. When I say nobody, I'm just talking about the deaf, dumb, and blind people. Only the people that know who they are, they're gonna come to you with the logic of, hey, how can I be anti-Semite if I'm claiming to be of Shem? Other people, they don't understand what that even means. You know what I mean? Like, that's something they can't even grasp that. What is it talking about anti-Semite? What does that even mean? You know what I mean? So it's important for us to maintain our understanding when it comes to what the Most High has blessed us with. And, that's just all it's about. But yeah, man, the Hegelian dialectic is pretty much based in you presenting a problem, and from that problem you have a thesis and an antithesis or antithesis, and from there a solution comes from it. That's the Hegelian dialectic. Let's use Kyrie Irving. The thesis is him pretty much posting what he posted, and the antithesis is the people that's giving him backlash for it, coming at him for it. The solution is Let's take down all these different sites, all these different modes of information, and we could justify it by calling Kyrie Irving an anti-Semite. You know, that's what they do. And that's how you understand the devil. That's how you understand who we are up against. So God bless you all. Shalom.